didn't lose her interest because you weren't enough. You lost it because the frame slipped out of your hands. That frame, the invisible power that tells her, without words, I know who I am, I know where I'm going, and I choose who comes with me, is what determines whether she keeps orbiting you or drifts away. Most men never learn to hold that frame when things get uncertain. They either chase, collapse, or play it cool while radiating needy energy underneath. You're not going to do that. You're going to reignite her curiosity the way fire takes to oxygen, quietly at first, then irresistibly. Not by begging, not by pleading your case, by becoming the kind of presence that pulls her attention back without asking for it. If what you've heard so far is shifting how you see yourself, stay with me until the end, because we're just getting started, and I'm going to hand you a structure you can run this week, not someday. First, let's strip away the noise. Attraction is not a debate you win. It's a tension you manage. When her interest fades, you don't solve it by presenting more facts about how great you two could be. You solve it by restoring the polarity. Your grounded, directional, self-contained masculine energy, reintroducing itself to her nervous system in a way that feels safe, intriguing, and worth following. You do that through 5 moves, each one simple, each one carrying more weight than 100 texts. You'll feel a different quality in your body as you hear this. Your breathing slows. Your mind stops spinning. And that's good, because calm men make magnetic decisions. If this is hitting something inside you, drop your thoughts below. I read every single one. The first move is the reset. You cannot reignite what you keep smothering. If you're checking her stories, replying instantly, filling the silence, explaining yourself, or just being nice to stay on her radar, you're turning oxygen off. The reset means you remove pressure from the dynamic so that interest has space to breathe again. Do not announce a reset. Do not post performative, I'm doing great content. Do not manufacture jealousy. You simply stop feeding the beast of overexposure. Practically, that looks like slowing your response time to a natural, non-urgent rhythm, reducing digital initiations, and cutting off any downstream behaviors that reveal you're running your life around hers. Late-night message spirals, reaction emojis, long essays, and half-jokes fishing for reassurance. The energy you used to spend chasing her attention now gets directed into tightening your presence. She expects you to double down. Instead, you become selectively quiet. Remember, you're not ghosting, you're pausing the noise. When she wonders why you're not chasing the crumb trail anymore, she's already stepped back into your gravitational field. The reset is more than silence. It's the removal of your covert contracts. A covert contract is the invisible trade you make with yourself. If I show her I care more, she'll reward me with interest. That's not leadership. That's bargaining for validation. In the reset, you stop giving with the hidden hope of a return. You give because it's aligned with your standards, or you don't give. You respond because it's on your schedule, or you don't respond. You suggest plans when the moment is right, not because you fear losing your shot. The strongest part of the reset is internal. You choose your center again. If that sounds abstract, it won't after you live it for 3 days. 3 days of only saying what you mean, taking longer to respond, and refusing to manage her emotions for her will drain neediness out of your voice and replace it with steadiness. She will feel it. The second move is the rebuild, because silence without substance is just absence. You do not earn interest by vanishing. You earn it by becoming sharper while you're away. Rebuild means you engineer your days around self-respect and momentum. Women track momentum. They don't always know why they're pulled toward it, but they feel it. A man with real velocity. Your job is to create it. Start with the body. A man whose body is undertrained is a man whose presence is underpowered. I'm not telling you to live in the gym. I'm telling you to put your body in motion daily, with intensity, so your nervous system recalibrates around strength, breath, and discipline. The change this creates in your eyes, your posture, and your micro-expressions is immediate. Next, sharpen your edges. Grooming dialed in, wardrobe simplified and elevated, small upgrades that send one message, quality. Then, most important, pour energy into your mission. If you don't have one, choose the closest thing to a mission you can commit to for the next 90 days. A project that demands consistency and visibility. A man executing on a clear project speaks differently. He texts differently. He dates differently. He doesn't need her to fill his sense of time. She's invited into it. While you rebuild, restore your social momentum, not performatively, not as a calculated display. Simply reconnect with friends, say yes to 2 invitations you would have skipped, and root yourself in places where you're the source of good energy, places where you're in your element or building one. Interest comes back to men who are in motion, not men who are endlessly available. Remember, availability is not generosity. It is an admission that nothing else is calling for you. Make sure something is calling for you and answer it. This is where many men fail. They do a no-contact style reset but sit around stewing, refreshing her profile. That is not power. Power is building a life that she wants to step into because it smells like purpose, not perfume. The third move is the re-signal. You've reset the pressure and rebuilt your center. Now you need to send a new signal into the field. Women track patterns. If every conversation is low-stakes small talk, that is her pattern for you. If every date vibe is you accommodating her into the plan she already had with her friends, that is her pattern for you. To reignite interest, you change the pattern with small, undeniable contrasts. Contrasts are the currency of attention. She expects one version of you. You give her a refined version she didn't see coming. Not louder, not needier, not flashier, just undeniably more directed. Re-signal with your timing. If you used to reply instantly, shift to considered. Concise responses that land with intention. If you used to send long, warm paragraphs, shift to a confident line that carries value. Re-signal with your content. If you used to ask, "How was your day?" because you were afraid to lead, send a message that indicates a standard. "I'm heading out to check this spot on Thursday. Good espresso, good jazz. If you're free at 7, join." Read that again. It's an invitation, not a negotiation. It's clear, grounded, and optional. 3 qualities that feel like leadership. And if you're thinking, but what if she says no? You've just exposed the old frame. You were chasing a yes instead of curating your time. Re-signal with your presence. The next time you see her, your eye contact sits longer. Your voice slows down. You don't fill silence with nervous chatter. Your body language says, "I move on my rhythm." That rhythm is a scarcity signal, rare, not because you're trying to be rare, but because you actually have limited attention and you place it where it matters. A powerful part of the re-signal is ethical preselection, the sense that you are desired by the world, not starved by it. You don't flaunt other women. You move through environments where you're naturally connected and appreciated. You laugh easily. You're quick to cut conversations that drain you and expand ones that energize. That warmth, that decisiveness, that attunement, those are attraction clues. She won't always articulate it. She'll just feel that something about you is in demand, and she'll want to understand the source. In her mind, questions reappear. What changed? Why does he feel lighter and more grounded at the same time? Why am I thinking about him when I'm with other people? This is what you want. Curiosity, reopening. The fourth move is the re-engage. This is where men either blow it by pressing too hard or drift by waiting too long. You will do neither. You will initiate contact with clarity, invite her into a frame, and escalate with calibration. The re-engage is not a confession of feelings or a plea to revisit the past. It's a simple, confident step into the present. Your goal is to create a new reference experience between you, an encounter that feels different from your previous dynamic. That means you plan lightly, but lead strongly. If you're meeting, choose an environment that energizes you, not one that sedates you into being polite. Use short windows. 90 minutes beats 4 hours. Movement beats stagnation. Shared sensory experiences. Good coffee, an art walk, a new pop-up beats sitting across from each other interrogating your past. You're not talking about what went wrong. You're living what's right now. When you speak, ground your voice in your body. Many men try to be interesting. Be interested. Ask questions that open her, not to collect leverage, but to learn her truth. What's lighting you up lately? What's the one thing you keep thinking about starting but haven't? Listen like a man with a spine, receptive yet steady, curious yet not swayed by every gust of emotion. Offer your perspectives without trying to sell them. Women listen deeper when your words aren't begging for approval. Look for moments to tease lightly, to challenge playfully, to express a preference without fear. I'm not a fan of that place. The lighting's dead. Let's try the one next door. It sounds small, but it communicates a lifetime of certainty. Attraction needs a container. You are the container. During the re-engage, tension is your ally. Don't rush to resolve it with premature reassurance. Let the air hold a little electricity. Sit with the eye contact a beat longer. Allow short silences to do their work. If she tests you, arrives late, checks her phone, nudges old patterns, don't punish and don't bend. You set boundaries with warmth. I'm here for a good time. Let's keep phones away for a bit. Calm, direct, smiling. You do not make it heavy, you make it clear. Remember, boundaries are not rules you impose. They are standards you live. A man with standards isn't trying to control her. He's simply transparent about the world he moves in. The minute she feels that, respect returns. Respect precedes renewed interest. Most men try to buy interest with attention. It's always cheaper and more powerful to earn respect with standards. The fifth move is the reframe, the part that fuses everything together and creates staying power. A reframe is the story you embody that makes her see you differently without you explaining a thing. Your old story might have been, he's sweet but a little lost, or he's available whenever I want him, or he's trying very hard. Your new story is, he's grounded, in demand, and selective. He chooses me, he doesn't cling to me. You craft this story through consistent behavior, not slogans. When you say you'll be somewhere, you're there. When you like something, you say it. When you don't swallow it to keep the peace. When you want to see her, you offer a time. When it doesn't align, you let it go without flinching. When she pushes to see if your center is real, you appreciate the energy and stay centered anyway. Within the reframe, use what I call the three pulls: pull of mystery, pull of direction, pull of intimacy. The pull of mystery is not secrecy, it's depth. You're not an open book on page 1. You reveal layers at your pace. You don't overshare to bond. You let your actions speak, and you give context when it matters. The pull of direction is leadership. You have a map for your week, your body, your mission. You're not floating, waiting to be claimed. The pull of intimacy is the ability to make her feel uniquely seen in your presence. You notice details other men miss, the cadence of her laugh when she's genuinely amused versus socially polite, the way her energy drops when conversation turns transactional, the spark when it turns playful again. Call those contrasts out in a way that celebrates her, not cages her. I like you better when you stop being careful with your words. That line isn't a technique. It's an invitation into truth. Truth is addictive. Interest bonds to it. Let's go deeper on tension, because this is where a lot of men get confused and either overdo it or avoid it. Tension is simply the felt space between what is and what could be. It's the electricity of potential. When you endlessly close that space with reassurance, I just want to make sure you're okay with this. If you don't want to, it's totally fine. No worries if not, just thought I'd ask. You relax your own intensity to keep her comfortable, but comfort without spark is friendship. On the other hand, when you weaponize tension, neglecting, ignoring, playing cold, you create anxiety, not attraction. The art is to hold tension like a good dance partner. You maintain your frame, you move forward with clarity, and you allow her to meet you without dragging her. That balance is intoxicating. She feels your strength and your softness at the same time. She can lean in, she can push back, she can test, and you remain you. If you're thinking, this sounds great, but what do I actually do tomorrow? Here's your week without overcomplication. Day 1. Begin the reset. Stop all low-value outreach. No fishing for micro hits of attention. Clean your space, lift something heavy, handle the small tasks you've been avoiding. Your body wants proof you can carry weight. Give it. Day 2. The rebuild. Train. Eat like a man on a mission. Schedule 2 social commitments that energize you. Handle 1 task in your project that moves the needle. Day 3. Tighten your look. Grooming dialed, wardrobe simplified. Message a friend, and set a time to hit a place with good energy. Day 4. Re-signal softly. If you've been in limbo with her, send a confident, optional invite with a time and place. Not a, what do you want to do, but I'm going here. Join if you're free. Day 5. Re-engage. Keep it light, dynamic, 90 minutes. Move. Laugh. Notice. Lead. Day 6. Let the experience breathe. Don't flood it with anxious follow-ups. Day 7. Reframe in action. Offer another invitation if it aligns. If not, pour back into your mission. This is a cadence you can keep living. If a brother needs this structure, send it to him today. Don't keep it to yourself. Now let's talk about the nuances that make these steps potent. Your voice is one. The same words can either pull her in or push her out depending on how you say them. Speak slightly slower than your anxiety wants you to. Let silence carry the weight of your certainty. If you're unsure, breathe before you speak. Your breath is the hidden lever of attraction. It centers you and calms her. Another nuance is choice of focus. When you engage, do not try to impress her with what you own, who you know, or the vague size of your goals. Impress her with how you move, the way you navigate a crowded room without losing your awareness, the way you listen without trying to fill every gap, the way you decline something that doesn't fit your standards without any heat. "No, that's not my thing," said with a small smile, is powerful. It implies a backbone. Backbones are rare. Humor is a third nuance. Not jokes, not routines, ease. Humor that lands is humor that reveals you're comfortable in your skin. Tease her with affection, not edge. If she says something rigid, you can smirk and say, "So you do have rules." Then shift into a more playful thread. If she tries to control the frame with sarcasm, don't out-sarcasm her. Tilt the frame with curiosity. You're deflecting. What are you protecting? That's an intimacy pull. Risky if you need her approval, magnetic if you don't. You won't always get a pure, open response. You don't need one. Your goal is not control. It's revealing where the real conversation lives. Men often ask, what if she doesn't respond? What if she's truly done? Here's the truth you need to anchor in. Your dignity is not negotiable. If she's not meeting you with respect or interest after you've reset, rebuilt, re-signaled, and re-engaged with clarity, you don't chase a closed door. You redirect to one that opens. Indifference to your value is not a puzzle to solve. It's a filter doing its job. When you live this framework, you automatically filter for women who respond to your best energy. That's the point. The steps aren't tricks to bend one person to your will. They're a structure to restore your power, so the right person feels it and chooses it. Let her. And if the right person is her, you'll know because the energy will equalize. She'll come forward. Investment will return. You won't have to pry it out. Let's ground one more concept. Standards versus expectations. Expectations say, she should do X. Standards say, I do Y. Expectations create resentment and brittle energy. Standards generate calm, decisive action. Your standard might be that you don't chase after being disrespected. Your standard might be that you don't stay in conversations that become petty. Your standard might be that you won't apologize for being a man with preferences. When you live standards, you become predictable in the right way. Not boring, but trustworthy. A woman can relax into that. She knows the dance has a leader. She knows that if she spirals emotionally, your presence won't splinter. That safety is sexy. It's not talked about enough, but it's why so many bad boys seem magnetic. People mistake danger for leadership because danger feels decisive. Real leadership isn't dangerous. It's definitive. You can be deeply good and deeply attractive at the same time. As you keep running this, you'll notice something. You stop caring about getting her interest back, and you start caring about living as a man who generates interest wherever he goes. That shift is everything. The less you try to extract a specific outcome from her, the more your natural charisma returns. You become less reactive, more invitational. You don't flinch at tests. You don't collapse at mixed signals. You respond to reality as it is, not as you wish it to be. Paradoxically, that's the exact energy that makes a woman lean in. She's not the center of your emotional weather. She's a beautiful part of your already sunlit day. Take a breath with me. Feel the weight of your shoulders. Notice the difference between the man who begs and the man who invites. Begging is a plea. Choose me so I can feel whole. Invitation is a promise. I am already whole. Come see what it feels like to move with me. The 5 steps exist to move you from the first to the second. Reset the pressure. Rebuild your center. Re-signal with contrast. Re-engage with clarity. Reframe the story. Live it for 7 days and watch what shifts. Live it for 7 weeks and watch who you become. If you're feeling that click inside, The recognition that you've been operating beneath your true presence. Stay with me to the last word, because this part seals it. Your masculine presence is not a costume you put on when you want something. It's the way you move when no one is watching. It's the standards you keep when she doesn't text back. It's the projects you build when you could waste an evening trying to get a fraction of her attention. It's the way you speak to baristas, rideshare drivers, strangers. It's how you apologize when you're wrong without melting into shame. It's how you handle rejection with humor and keep momentum. It's how you say no without performing alpha. That consistency makes you rare. Rarity attracts. Now imagine the next time you see her. You don't rush. You arrive centered. She looks at you and something is different. She can't tell if it's your eyes, the way you stand, or the way you're not trying to get anything from her. Conversation flows, then pauses, then flows again. You lead lightly. You redirect without force. You tease, you listen, you invite. You don't brag about your week. Your energy tells the story. When you leave clean. No needy goodbye messages, no energy leak. The last impression is crisp. That crispness is oxygen. It lets the fire grow in the space you don't fill. And when you do message, it's simple, present, unpretentious. You're not building a case, you're opening a door. I'm checking out that rooftop Wednesday at 6. Come if you want to laugh. If she says she's busy, you don't spiral. Another time. You go on with your life, you keep the cadence. A week later, you might say, Saturday, 5 p.m., walk and a bite. You in? The words matter less than the man saying them. The man who knows that rejection is not a referendum on his worth. The man who knows his worth is measured in the truth he lives, not the attention he extracts. The man who never begs because he never abandoned himself to begin with. If you wanted tactics, you've got them. If you wanted psychology, you've got it. But beneath tactics and psychology sits a deeper vow you make to yourself tonight. I will not sell my dignity for attention. I will not negotiate with my own neediness. I will not abandon my mission for the chance to be chosen by someone who can't see me yet. I choose to become the kind of man whose presence does the heavy lifting before he speaks. When you live that vow, the 5 steps become natural. They stop being steps and start being your default. And then, whether she returns or not, your life becomes magnetic territory. Women feel it. People feel it. You feel it most of all. If what you've heard has been changing the way you stand, the way you breathe, the way you intend to move tomorrow, let me know what part hit hardest. I read every single comment because I care about men reclaiming their presence. And if you know a brother who's been spinning in anxiety, send him this right now so he can stop begging and start leading. If you want more conversations like this, unfiltered, direct, and built on real psychology, stay with me here. The men who stick around don't just learn lines, they learn to live from a spine. That's where attraction starts. That's where it lasts. And that's how you reignite her interest without a single ounce of begging, by becoming the man whose silence is louder than another man's speech, whose standards are warmer than another man's compliments, and whose life is an invitation she doesn't want to turn down.